with Professor Alta van der Merwe, who did her doctorate with me. So Prof Hannelie Smits is my doctoral grandchild, and when Zandi finishes, she'll be my doctoral great-grandchild. Okay, good. So let's have a look.
Okay, Prof. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here and to listen to what I'm trying to accomplish in my PhD. So in my study, I will be developing a user experience evaluation toolkit for academic digital libraries. So
Right.
just to give you a background, first and foremost, I am a librarian and I've been in the academics sphere for the past over 20 years. So I've really grown in the industry and I'm just trying to expand myself. Hence this type of research, tying it to what I did with Prof last year.
Mm-hmm.
No, not last year, the other past 3 years. Okay. I'm being supervised by Prof Smarts at UP. So the presentation, I'll take you through the background of the study, tying it into the literature review. So the background will set the context and the problem statement will frame the research. Then I'll look at the literature review that I did and outline the research aims, questions, and the objectives of the study. I'll then discuss the theoretical underpinning and the research approach and methodology that I'll be following. And then I'll highlight the expected contributions, show you my research plans. And lastly, I will try and get questions from you guys. I would love to get questions from you guys. Okay. So here's to the background. So the integration of technology in libraries has changed. Prof, you can attest, many of us can attest, it has changed how we access and how we engage with the services that libraries offer. All right. So for instance, libraries now provide remote access. We have mobile library apps that are out there. They try to enhance accessibility. In the case of UP, they have the robot Libby, which assists with guided navigation. They also improve your information retrieval through discovery platforms like Primo. All right. However, with all these things that they are bringing into the forth and trying to catch up with technology so that the users are happy, there are still challenges. All right. So these challenges, they complicate the overall user experience. So one example of the challenges that I would like to highlight, libraries get millions in budgets, all right? But then when we get limited budgets, libraries are restricted from investing in modern, integrated and inclusive digital platforms. All right. So now what are libraries doing to cope with these challenges? They are focusing on improving accessibility by taking their existing digital resources and bettering their designs. And they continue to build and test and refine the services that they have through user feedback. However, even with these efforts, there are certain gaps. So this will take us to the problem statement. I'm not sure why it's not moving now, Prof. Okay. So, right. So what is the problem? We're trying to catch up with technology and what's happening, and we're trying to keep our users happy. But what is the problem? So although there's a great deal of research within digital libraries, the evaluation of user experience of the library systems, it varies significantly in methodology and the dimensions that they look at. So why is this a problem? It is a problem because user experience is very complex. It's also subjective. It's also content specific in nature. All right. And that makes it difficult to rely on like single approaches to identify the factors that influence the perceptions of users. All right. And then what I found is that existing current studies only focus primarily on assessing the effectiveness and usability of digital libraries. So they don't try and understand the deeper experience of like how users are feeling, the user engagement with the systems. So what will happen if we do not improve this? So if we do not have well-defined comprehensive evaluation frameworks, assessment experience risk remain limited to usability measures. So we will always concentrate on measuring usability of the systems. So this can lead to poorly designed digital libraries that will fail to meet user requirements. At this point, I want to make an example. So as a faculty librarian, I will get a list of all the databases that are allocated to my faculty. And then there will be red flags. And then when these red flags come, they will tell me, okay, we will stop subscribing to this particular database because people are not using it. It is not based on the user. It is based on the statistics and the hits that we get from that particular database. And I've been bothered by this for many years to say, but we're not asking why the users are not using this. We're just looking at how many people are downloading articles. And if that is not giving us value for money, we then ditch the database. We just ditched for example, for fashion, WSGN, and they really liked the database, but because it was very expensive and it was not being used, it's gone. And then people ask why we then go to these open access databases and we use AI tools like Elicit to get articles. All right. So why should we care? Why should we care about this? All right. So if we have poorly designed library systems, people get frustrated. And when people are frustrated, they get discouraged to use those systems. So you are not benefiting from the library resources. So in contrast, if we are using user-friendly, people look for user-friendly and accessible, visually appealing designs, we need to appeal to each single user of our digital systems as libraries. So this is where the problem stems from.
So, Zandi, I just want to pause here because I want everybody to see what a really, really excellent problem statement looks like. In the first place, I like the what is the problem, why is it a problem, what will happen if we don't improve it, and why should we care? I know that goes back even to your master's days. I think it was Professor Daramola who always asked us to do it that way. But what I like is the other side, because I think your supervisor for your master's told you that, and that is the problem that you're showing there. Although there's been a great deal of research on digital libraries, values of user experience still vary significantly, both methodologically and in emphasis. And then you have a quotation. So you have found an academic problem. This is the important thing. Those of you who are writing papers for publication, and Matsepo for you, your problem has to be an academic problem, which is a problem about understanding, which is really cool. And then why it's a problem, what I like about that is you're bringing other authors in to explain why it's a problem. So now we know it's not just an isolated problem for Jelani. It is a problem that people are recognizing, and that is really, really cool. And then for the others, you also have good citations with them. And that I'm really, really pleased with this one. And in fact, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a screenshot of it so that, come on, function print screen. Where's my screenshot machine coming up now? Oh no, function print screen. It doesn't want to take a screenshot. So I'm going to ask you to send me the slideshow so that I can steal this specific slide from you. But don't worry, I will give you credit for it.
All
Okay,
right,
let's
Prof.
go on. Let's go on to the next one.
All right. So to better understand how this issue has been addressed thus far in literature, I examined literature. So what did literature show me? So that you will see where this problem statement comes from. To better understand user experience in digital libraries, I conducted a scoping review. So I went broadly. So what I
Yes,
like about scoping reviews, I'm not asking a specific question, but I am looking for trends. I'm looking
yes,
for patterns. I'm looking for knowledge gaps in the field that I am interested in.
exactly.
So what the scoping review showed me, it revealed that the studies focus on usability and broader user experience, all
Mm,
right? Often treating them as overlapping concepts, all right? And then they also, the review also revealed that largely, we are looking at things quantitatively, which
yes,
limits the depth of understanding about the
correct.
more subjective aspect of user
Yes.
experience. So they're really looking at usability. And because of this quantitative focus, certain methodological trends have emerged. So in the scoping review, I found out that most studies use questionnaires as their main data collection method, with a strong emphasis on student experiences. So they don't look at anything. They look at the usability. They focus at how students are dealing with these systems. While this approach provides useful insights, it overlooks other aspects. So it overlooks other user groups like people with disabilities.
Yes.
Prof, I venture that way. Also, the conceptual and emotional dimensions of user experience.
Mm,
So this is what looking at the studies quantitatively. All right. And then further on, I discovered that there were barriers to how user experience was evaluated in digital libraries. Firstly, there were methodological barriers. These included the lack of standardized evaluation frameworks and an over-reliance on self-reported data, limited validation of conceptual models that people come up with. Secondly, there were technological barriers which arise from using outdated interface designs, limited accessibility compliance, and poor system stabilities. These issues, they will tend to reduce users' confidence and overall engagement with the systems. All right. And then lastly, I discovered that there were user-related barriers within research, such as there's low digital literacy, emotional disengagement, and most studies they look at because most studies they do self-evaluation. So the developer will develop something and then go and evaluate it. So the sample sizes that they normally use in these studies are very small. All right.
Okay, Zandi, just
So,
keep it there again. I just want to say something again so that everybody else hears. What really impresses me with the past 3 slides on the literature is that they are very lean slides. They show there are very few words on the slides, a lot of graphics on the slides, and particularly the fact that you're giving me an overview of the literature and not just a quote or two. I think that is really, really important. So, um, all those graphs that you are showing. And the other thing is that all of this up to now, this entire slide, this entire literature section has been about what the literature looks like and what the gaps in the literature are. So those of you working on literature surveys, those are the things we want to know. Firstly, what does the corpus of literature look like? What are the issues, etc.? And then where are the gaps? And I think you did that beautifully.
all right, Prof, thank you. So I think this will be the last slide for the literature review. I then looked at geographical gaps, all right? So when we look at geographical spread of research, it becomes clear that most of the research in this area is concentrated in Southeast Asia. So you will see I've done a table there that shows you how many studies have been done in each geographical area. And the map also highlights it with the colors. So you'll see the color blue, the light blue with 9 studies is in Southeast Asia.
Right.
Particularly, most of these studies are conducted in Indonesia and Malaysia. And there's also some contribution from South Arabia and the United States. In contrast, regions such as Africa and South America remain significantly underrepresented.
Yes.
Hence, this study is very perfect in the South African context.
Absolutely. This is so well done. Who was your supervisor for your master?
It was Johannes Cronje, sir.
Oh, I see. He must have done a good job.
He did. He taught me well. He taught me well. So you can see collectively from the insights that I've just shared within the literature, if you look at my problem statement, it is based on the methodological barriers that I discovered from the literature. And secondly, it is based on the geographical gap that I identified in the literature. Okay, so moving on, what are the aims and objectives of the study? So building from the gaps that I identified in the literature, this study aims to develop an adaptable toolkit and a set of actionable recommendations to enhance the user experience of academic libraries within the South African context. So to achieve this goal, the research will explore the key components that should be included in a toolkit for effectively evaluating user experience in academic digital libraries. So I will identify the approaches that are currently used to evaluate user experience. I will examine the dimensions that are measured. I will evaluate the extent to which this proposed toolkit that I'm building can assist in assessing usability, accessibility, and emotional valence. Someone asked me about this word, what is emotional valence? And I feel like I'm always like explaining. So emotional valence means the emotional responses that users have when they interact with any system. So in this case, when they interact with digital libraries. So this will be grounded in theories, Prof.
I also like the fact that it's what and to what extent. That
Yes.
means that you're in the describe quadrant. So you're going to build the thing, but that's not what it's about. It's really about describing what you've built and about testing what you've built. So that's very nice.
Yes. So I'm using Yo, okay. So I'll integrate. I went wild on this, Prof. I spent a lot of time. So firstly, I'm going to use the integrated TTF temp, so task technology field model and technology acceptance model.
Yes.
So these will be employed to assess the effectiveness of the toolkit. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So these models are suitable because TEM will help us understand the perceptions of the toolkit's usefulness and ease of use. We all know what TEM stands for.
Yes.
But then TTF will allow us to examine how well the toolkit features align with the specific tasks that are being evaluated. All right, so we're not only looking at the acceptance, we also, oh, it moved without me. All right, so let me just explain the frameworks. And then I will use attractive for the emotional valence and the usability. But then to see how the system conform for accessibility, I'm going to use what we call work egg. All right. So that we can see if the digital systems assist people with disabilities. All right. So the research approach and methodology, as you can see, the research design that I'm following, I will be adopting a pragmatic research paradigm because it focuses on solving real world problems and it's very flexible. It's a very flexible approach for understanding user experience. Okay, and then in line with this, I will follow design science research strategy because it is suitable for creating and evaluating artifacts. And I have decided to do a multiple case study under the DSR, and I will select, I will purposely fully sample 6 traditional universities and UOTs. And these will be based in the main metropoles of South Africa. So Gauteng, KZN, Western Cape. And then my participants looking at UX researchers, librarians, and all that. So I want to concentrate now on the data collection. If you see on the left, I'm following the design science process by Vashivna and Kukla, 2015. And the graph that you see there is how I'm applying it to my study. So I'll firstly conduct a systematic review that will identify the UX assessment methods and the dimension that are measured. Then I'll get the elements, the first step of the first version of the toolkit. Then I will then go conduct expert interviews with UX researchers and UX librarians to see what they usually look at, and then I will upgrade to the second version of the toolkit. Then I will conduct a pilot study in one traditional university and one university of technology using the TTF and TEM, and we refine the toolkit. Then the main evaluation will then use TTF, attractive, and I'll use an automated tool to look at the digital libraries to see if they conform with accessibility. So then the data that I'm going to collect will be analyzed descriptively. Any interviews that are conducted will be analyzed thematically. So what are the expected contributions of this study? So from a theoretical perspective, I'm developing an adaptable evaluation toolkit. So you can adapt depending on what you want to evaluate, all right? So, secondly, methodologically, the design science research approach, if you see in the studies that I looked at, most studies were quantitative. They were followed by the mixed method approach. Qualitative studies were very few. You didn't see any design science research. That's the
Right.
methodological contribution that I'm going to do. Practically, the toolkit and recommendations that will come will serve as a resource for library practitioners and help to improve effectiveness, inclusiveness, and the overall quality of digital libraries. So this is my project plan. I'm currently conducting a systematic literature review. So I'm actually ahead of myself because I do plan what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it, Prof. And I hope to finish my study at the end of 2027.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. I think you can finish your study by the end of 2026, except you're going to many universities, so you are going to have quite a lot of data. There's applause from Yvonne, applause from Matsepo, um, applause from Marty. Well done. I think this is one of the best proposals that I have seen. I'm really, really impressed, and I'm hoping that the voiceover that was at the bottom didn't go onto the recording, because then I'm going to steal this recording and I'm going to make it. You've been on YouTube with me once before, so I think you're going to
Yes,
be
I
on
have
YouTube.
been, Prof. Actually, Prof, I started doing this because one of my fashion design students in
Yes.
information literacy is
Yeah.
deaf. So
Oh,
when
yes.
I was doing class, I wanted to include her. So
Of
I never
course.
switched it off so that she can like read as I'm going through the lesson. I'm going fast now, but when I'm doing with that group, I go like very slowly.
Yes, of course. Okay, understood. Well, then we'll just play it with the text. That's also not a problem. Yeah, it was beautiful. Are there questions for Zandi? There's a question from Matsepo.
Sandy, I just want to find out, you're combining, you said TEM and what's the other one? I think, is it three of
TTF.
them? TTF
Ye-
and the other,
Yes.
is it three or two?
TTF term it's an integrated model. So it
Mm-hmm.
counts as one, and then it only looks at ease of use, usefulness, and then does the task what the task they are doing fit with what they are doing. That's what TTF term looks at. And then I'm using attractive to look. So if you saw when I was presenting, I'm going to have a pilot. And within the
Mm,
pilot, I'm only using the TTF term.
okay.
Okay. And then in the main evaluation, now when I include users and I'm not looking at librarians and your developers, I actually include students with disabilities. I'm also going to add attractive. So attractive will look at usability. So they look at pragmatic and hedonic factors of user
Okay.
experience.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
So you're gonna blend it out together in such a way that it
Yes.
gives you, okay. All right.
Yes.
No, thank you for
What
the
is
clarification.
What is also nice is how you link your models to your questions. That is important. And I also noticed, I did not miss the fact that you've got an aim, and then you've got sub questions, and you've got what do they call those things? An objective for each one of the sub questions. I do remember your supervisor saying something like one should have that. So this
Yes,
pleases me.
I learned that from you, Prof.
That makes a very nice little slideshow. So yeah, well done.
Thank you, Prof.
Right. Anybody, any other questions for Zandi? I think we gave her some good feedback. I interrupted her with some feedback, but oh, there's one thing that I think you can improve, Zandi, and that is the agenda, saying I'm going to talk about this, and there's the second slide, which says this is going to be the agenda. You can lose that slide altogether, because we all know what the agenda of a proposal is. And secondly, we're going to forget it anyway by the time you get to the next slide. So it actually wastes time. What you might want to do, if your supervisor wants it there, you can say, here is the agenda, and then move on. Allow people to look at it, but don't talk to it, because one can read it very quickly and say, oh, she's doing the standard thing, and then go on.
Thank you,
But
Prof, because I didn't want they're actually giving me 10 minutes for the presentation, and
correct.
I've been trying to see